This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
The following program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Yeah. Same old story. It doesn't really matter who the host is. You are listening to the Rated R Safety Show, coming to you live on safetyfm.com and safetyfm.tv. Today's Thursday, April the 23rd of 2020. It is the 114th day of the year so far, and only 252 more days to go. But I look at it and I go, wow, we're 114 in. It's been an exciting 114 days. If you would have told me in this year alone, Kobe Bryant would have died, we would have an epidemic like this, I would never in a million years believed you. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen. But as you are aware, and you always know, we start off this thing with our partners at Feature Story News. So we're not going to do it any different today than what we've done it in the past. Why? Because that's what we do. Repeat. What? Did I just say that out loud? I think I did.
Bringing you information you never knew you cared about. Rated R Safety Show.
News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. The World Health Organization is warning almost half of people dying with coronavirus in Europe could be in care homes. It says a deeply concerning picture about long-term care facilities is emerging from the continent. The National Academy of Medicine says the wearing of face masks should be made compulsory in France immediately. France is considering only bringing in the obligatory wearing of face masks after the current end date for strict lockdown measures, which is the 11th of May. Ross Cullen reports from Paris.
In a press release, the institution insisted that its advice was that the authorities should not wait until the 11th of May, the current planned end date of lockdown, to bring in some form of obligation on the public to wear masks. The Academy said that by waiting until that date, there would be an 18-day period in which the country could suffer dozens of deaths, hundreds of hospitalizations, and thousands of infections that could have been avoided if the public were forced from today, Thursday the 23rd of April, to wear masks when they leave their houses. The French government says it's looking at all options when it comes to face masks, saying it's considering following other countries and making it compulsory from the end of lockdown to wear face masks if travelling on public transport. Ross Cullen, Paris.
US President Donald Trump says he signed the executive order temporarily halting some immigration to the United States. He first announced the move in a late-night tweet this week. Jagruti Dave reports from FSN Washington.
President Trump said he'd signed the executive order on immigration just before the coronavirus task force briefing got underway. He said it applies to people who want to enter the United States to become permanent residents, so it won't affect those who are already in the country. And there are several other exemptions. It doesn't apply to temporary visa holders, for example, those who come into the US for seasonal work, such as farm labourers, or those who enter into specialty occupations. But the president said the executive order could be expanded or modified in the future. He said his reasoning for the measure was to ensure unemployed Americans will be first in line for jobs, as he put it, when the economy reopens. And while this measure is not the full ban that his tweet originally suggested, some of Mr. Trump's critics say he is using the pandemic to scapegoat immigrants.
UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson could be back at work soon, according to one of his colleagues. There's still no date for his full return to prime ministerial duties, however, after his period in intensive care with coronavirus. Mr. Johnson was hospitalised earlier this month and said his life had been saved by staff at St Thomas's Hospital in London. Cabinet member Brandon Lewis says he's gradually taking on more and more but won't rush his return.
Well, I haven't spoken to the Prime Minister since just before he went into hospital, but I know that the First Secretary was with him at the weekend. I spoke to the First Secretary after he was with him, and he was in good spirits. But he's doing what we're asking everybody to do. He's following the medical advice, and that's what we're asking everybody to do. And I look forward to having him back in full throes and full grip of the reins in due course.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
We are now video streaming the Rated R Safety Show. I don't know why our host has a face for radio. Rated R Safety Show. We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Well, shit, somebody has to try to be entertaining. So, that's what you hear going on in the news. So now you know we're up to date with the feature story news. And that's the important part. Because as we get rolling and bowling and moving and grooving, ladies and gentlemen, we have to talk about the crap that I want to talk about, and that's kind of why you're here, to take a listen to my junk and to take a listen to our world of safety and what's going on in it. And, of course, we touch on that from time to time, go over some of the information, and then go from there. Anyways, let's take you from the top of the hit list. The Sage Medical Journal reports that on 2018 shooting incidents in Toronto in which victims' breast implants saved her life. Yeah, you heard that correctly. Her breast implant saved her life. The study suggests that the silicone implant caused the bullet to ricochet into the other breast rather than pierce the torso and attack vital organs. Based on the trajectory of the bullet entry clinically and the evaluation of a radiologist, let's go from there. The only source of the deflection of the bullet is the left breast implant, the study says. The victim ultimately suffered a fractured rib as well as boob damage. Well, shit, man. Breast implants can be a lifesaver. Okay, I say that jokingly. Don't take me too serious because I know some people might. I want to make sure that that's a pretty interesting story, but it is a silicone-based one. And I thought that was interesting, as you can hear. Wasn't a water-soluble one. But that's pretty interesting stuff. And keep in mind that this was of a shooting that took place back in 2018 in Toronto. Anyways, let's continue. A memo from CNN chief Jeff Zucker indicates that the network staff will remain working at home until at least early, ready for this, September, but underscored that the production from homes would continue through the end of the summer. Meanwhile, the official line at Fox News is to get back to work on May the 4th, but the New York City lockdown remains until May the 15th. So don't know exactly what's going to happen there. So right now, as we are continuing to go through all of this, what exactly is taking place with your workplace? Are you working from home, or are you having the opportunity to work inside of the building that you normally would go to? Or buildings, plural. I'm just curious because, of course, I get to interact with quite a few people, and they tell me different things depending on where they're at. Some people are considered essential workers with what they're doing. So, are you an essential worker? I mean, and don't get me wrong, I heard last night that there's a lot of signs in Tennessee that says all jobs are essential, and I'm not saying that that's not the case. Are you being deemed as an essential worker currently? Because that's something to think about. So how are you holding up? Have you been furloughed? Something to think about. I have quite a few acquaintances that have told me that they have either been furloughed or let go because they're mostly in the safety profession. And nothing against the safety profession, of course, but it seems to be one of the first spots that normally tends to go. So I was kind of curious on what's taking place in your neck of the woods. Just think about that. Don't have to jump into the box there and kind of go all wholehearted there. Because I know some people don't like talking about this stuff, but it's something that we need to discuss. Something we need to discuss for sure. Anyways, on the hopes of another economic stimulus package that crude oil prices gaining 20%, U.S. stock had a good day on Wednesday. The Dow finished up nearly 2%, and that would be up just in case, and the S&P 500 added about 2.29%. So that's pretty good stuff there. You're kind of seeing some different things from the economy standpoint. The closer that we hear about some of the things that are potentially changing with us potentially opening the economy in certain areas. How do you feel if you're in Georgia right now? Are you cool with part of the economy opening tomorrow? I know that the president had jumped in and said that he strongly disagreed with everything that they were opening in Georgia. So I don't know. I don't know what your thought processes are. I don't know what your thought process is. I don't know what you think if you are in Georgia, if it makes sense, or if it's just kind of stupid to do it right now, or do you just think it's just some dumb crap? I don't know.
Rated R Safety Show. Sarcastic? Never.
Not sarcasm, just calling it as it is. Anyways, a Wallet Hub survey indicates that 84% of Americans would like another round through and get another stimulus check. Well, no shit. Who doesn't like getting free money? Don't get me wrong here. 160 million Americans will completely be broke within the next 3 months, and 29% have less than a month of cash reserves. Millennials aren't self-centered as you think. Either they're at the 25% more likely than baby boomers to believe that the stimulus money should only go to those who have lost their jobs. Another 53% say the stimulus money should go to favor businesses, not individuals. And 91% say that they should use the stimulus money on alcohol, tobacco, and maybe some drugs. Now, I'm not saying you should do that. I'm just telling you what the report says. So do you think another round of stimulus checks is what people need? And let's say before I even go into another round of stimulus checks, I was talking to someone yesterday, and they have told me that they owed money to the IRS last year, and that they were told because they were on a payment plan with the IRS that they were unable to get the check direct deposited. Now, this is what's going on with this particular individual. So I don't know how that works. Does that mean you're stuck getting a paper check? Does that mean that going forward, the portion that will take place is that you have to wait or maybe set up a different direct deposit? I don't know. I don't know exactly how it works. Does anybody know? Please tell me. I'm trying to figure it out.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Sometimes you have to ask questions about things you don't understand in front of a large group of people and just see what they have to say in return. Now, don't hold it against me, the things that I ask here on the Rated R Safety Show, because sometimes I run into questions just like you. And I know some of you have the answers that are out there, and I don't have the answers to everything. I like to sit here from time to time and enjoy the time with you. But sometimes it just doesn't make sense, the answers that I can give. Anyways, had to try that out. I've been wanting to test that one. So, I don't know. I keep on looking at it and I go, if another stimulus check rounds goes about, how are we getting all of this money? Now, are we just printing the money because we have access to the printers? No, seriously, this is a serious question. Because what kind of effect is it going to have in the economy on the long run? We have to think about this, on how this is going to move forward. And believe me, by no means am I saying money should not get to people. That is not what I'm saying. Just want to make sure for sure.
Duh.
Anyways, let's continue. The state of New York has just ordered EMS first responders to not even attempt to resuscitate victims without a pulse. Recent guidelines instructed to give 20 minutes of life-saving measures, then toss the poor old corpse aside. Now, if you get a gripper, just hope that you have the aspirin in the medicine cabinet. So, I know that's one's a little bit sarcastic, but you have to take a look at it and go, things are getting so odd out there that, yeah, I don't know. I keep on hearing and I keep on looking at stories from other countries where they almost had to get to the point where they would decide who would live and who wouldn't based on time, age, what they had going on. And that is a very weird spot to put people in. A first responder, a medical personnel, making those particular decisions. You have to look at it and go, what happens next? How does that work? What happens? Who moves forward? Exoplanet Fomalhaut B was first spotted back in the Hubble Space Telescope back in 2008. Calculations by astronomers and scientists determined that it was about 25 light years away, and it took about 1,700 years to orbit its sun. Yes, its sun, just in case. And the time it was discovered, NASA called it the first visible light snapshot, of a planet circling another star. Now it appears to be missing, but researchers think that it was never a planet at all. Most likely just a cloud of dust left over in the icy interstellar collision between two bodies. I swear sometimes we sit around and we talk about the space stuff here, and it is so interesting what happens up there. And I look at it and go, wow, what would be such a great opportunity to be able to see some of that stuff? Because it's just mind-boggling.
We are now video streaming the Rated R Safety Show. I don't know why our host has a face for radio. Rated R Safety Show.
Yeah, nothing wrong with having a face for radio, just in case. Just so you know. So how we look at this, we must continue with the stories. Levels of nitrogen dioxide in the northeastern United States is down about 30% since March. And in Rome, air pollution levels have been halved year over year. Yeah, in parts of India, smog has cleared so much that the peaks of the Himalaya are visible from a distance, something previously thought of unthinkable. The Health Effects Institute estimates that 7 million people die a year from pollution. But don't get too excited about reversing global warming. The Breakthrough Institute says that greenhouse gases in the atmosphere take about a century to go bye-bye. So a century for what we're doing to the planet here. Yeah, that's based on science, just in case. You know, some people don't like that conversation. Okay, let's see. While the Muscovites endure the citywide lockdown, the Communist faithful risked the order to pay tribute to Vladimir Lenin. Yeah, several dozen communists laid flowers outside of Vladimir Lenin's tomb on the 150th anniversary of his birth. Current guidelines only permit leaving homes to see the doctor, buy essentials, walk animals, or to take out the trash. So I don't know how they got away with that one. How did they explain what they were doing? How did they explain what was going on? Security footage reveals how the art thief managed to steal Van Gogh's painting that we talked about earlier in the month from the Singer-Laren Museum near Amsterdam last month. Cameras show the thief using a sledgehammer to whack through a glass door, then pulled a piece off the wall. He escaped through the gift shop. The piece measures about 10 by 22 inches. Police are actively investigating the theft. Now, how the hell do you get rid of something like that? If you set this up and you steal a painting, as well known, how do you sell it? How do you get rid of it in the market? Do you turn around? I mean, I watch a lot of heist movies. Yeah, that's what kind of time I have. How do you do that? How do you set it up? What do you think? What do you think there? How do you set that bad boy up to go?
You are listening to a radio god. What? This has to be an error. That host is not a radio god. Anyways, this is the Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, a growing body of evidence suggests that waiting for the coronavirus vaccine could be a fruitless endeavor. Immunology professor Raphael Roper says that while the work was extensive on SARS vaccine back in the 2000s, medicines developed triggered an immune response, but wasn't enough to categorically protect against the disease and the contaminant efforts to herd the immunity stop the spread. So meanwhile, the estimates consider that 50 to 85 times the number of confirmed cases actually carried the disease. These people remain sidelined while the world scrambled for a virus that permits them to reopen their businesses and livelihoods. So I don't know. There's a lot of conversation going on right now on reopen everything. I don't know. You can almost stand in some different camps there, depending on how you look at it, because some people are saying, well, this is a good idea. Some people are saying this is a bad idea. Now, we have seen some of the people that are going out into the streets to protest about being locked down. But then we're seeing people go out to the streets about protesting the protesters, which makes it pretty interesting as well. Because if I'm out here to protest you protesting because you're out in the street and you should be locked up, am I not kind of doing the exact same thing? Thought it was pretty interesting, too, as we see some of those news stories take place. There's a picture that's going and floating around social media about people packed out at the beaches in Arizona. Now, I want you to think about that for a moment. And, of course, people are commenting. Some people are laughing, but some people are commenting on how could these people be doing that? How could people be attacking the beach in Arizona? Now, you are aware, just in case, that there are no beaches in Arizona. I mean, we are aware of that, right? I mean, I know that Tool a few years ago wrote a song and talked about that he was going to surf on the Arizona coastlines. But that was a joke. Just want to make sure. The song was titled Anima or Anima or however the hell you want to call it. But we are aware that these things are not real. Just to make sure that we're all on the same page here. Because I think some of us sometimes tend to get confused.
Duh.
Just in case. Just in case, just in case, just in case.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM. Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So let's talk about the main story here, because that's going to be the other standpoint here of what we keep on talking about. So, as you might have heard, or not heard, depending on how it goes, about the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program stimulus. So, as you are aware, or might not be, it is no longer has enough money inside of it. They're going to have to do a second round of funding for it. So let's kind of go down a little bit of this path. Take a guess why big businesses got the first dibs of the Paycheck Protection Program stimulus. Did you know? Do you know the answer? Each bank received the processing fee for the transaction. So let's do that slower. Each bank received a processing fee for the transaction. Each bank received a processing fee for the transactions. So, of course, here's what took place. While a 5% fee applied to loans that were less than $350,000. Banks took in a 1% from loans between $2 million and $10 million, the program cap. So think about that real quick. So Chase Bank, for example, got a $100,000 fee for processing the $10 million loan that Ruth Chris Steakhouse received for the bailout. And I thought it was 20. I didn't think it was 10. I thought it was 20 million. So statistically speaking, an overwhelming number of small businesses would be requesting loans worth less than about $100,000 as part of the program. And since the underwriting process is the same, banks had a little incentive to go through so many smaller clients. Now, let's not get this wrong. The banks are in the business to make money. I don't know how the guidelines were set up. I don't know how the specifics were. But you can understand how this would potentially cause some problems inside of the program. So just something to think about here. Now, I don't know how strict the guidelines are. Now, I'll tell you, I am a big fan of credit unions, and I bank with a pretty large credit union personally. And they are saying that they are no longer taking new applications. They are only processing the people that applied first. Now, I will tell you, there are some people that I interact with inside of the safety industry, and they said, nah, not applying for it. I'm just going to see what happens. Well, a few days later, conversation changed and said, oh, I was listening to some other shows, And these financial gurus said that we should actually go ahead and apply for these loans. Well, guess what? If you waited too long, they might not take your application. If you're waiting for the second round, depending on where you bank, they might not do it.
Duh.
So these are things that you have to think about. These are things that have to come into mind as you're doing this. I'm not saying you're too late to the game because I'm sure there's other places that are still taking it, but how is that funding going to work? Now, we did give a breakdown of the funding yesterday during the show, of course. But how is that going to work? How is that going to move going forward? So think about that for a moment.
Listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
So yeah, it's getting interesting out there for sure, just to say the least. No winner for Tuesday's night Mega Million drawing. Friday's drawing will be for a $174 million jackpot or a $142.9 million cash payout. Anyway, so I think that that's pretty interesting if you like playing those kind of games. I mean, the money's building up. Now, I don't know what you would do exactly right now if you got that kind of money. Would you actually go out and start helping people? Would you give it all away? Would you stash it? I mean, I don't know. What is the dollar going to be worth here? We keep on doing some very interesting things all across the board. So I don't know. What are you thinking? What are you seeing next? I will tell you, I've had a lot of people that are becoming future predictors that are trying to say this is what's going to happen. Now, I would love to be able to have conversations with people, but I cannot predict the future. I wish I could. I think it would be a great gift or great power to do so, but I am not a future teller. I can give you my opinions, but that's definitely not the future. So how are you holding up? We're almost at the end of the week here. Tomorrow's Friday, as you might be aware. Are you locked up in your side of your house? What are you doing to tone it down, to chill? I'm not saying Netflix and chill, just to be on the safe side.
Duh.
But there's a lot of shit going on out there. I have friends that tell me that they either wake up extremely early in the morning, they don't sleep at all at night, or they just don't know what to do. They feel like they're in a level of depression to some extent. And I can understand that. Believe me, I can understand the whole depression side of this whole thing. And I keep on looking at it and I keep on going, we still need to have those conversations about what's going on and really talk about, if you are depressed, contact the correct people. Don't just hold it all in. We have talked about it on several occasions. I want to bring it up once again. Suicide Prevention Lifeline, 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255. They're also available online at suicidepreventionlifeline.org. That's suicidepreventionlifeline.org. They're available there. So there are people to talk to. There's also another organization that I like a lot that's called To Write Love on Her Arms. Yeah, To Write Love on Her Arms. And they will actually set you up with some people in your area, if possible, for you to have a discussion with. There's also a lot of good information on their website. So that's To Write Love on Her Arms. That's TWLOHA.com, just the short version. So TWLOHA.com. And that's people that you can talk to. Look for stories, have, conversations. They're even on like the Suicide Prevention Lifeline. There's a chat box. You can converse with people there. And, if you're in a community and you like, doing the church thing, that's another good place to go, to talk to the pastor there. People need people. And keep in mind that when you're doing all of this, where you're locked down, and let's say that you have some minimal interaction, and you're locked down, and I'm not trying to cut the family out of the equation, because I know that that's an easy thing to do. But if you only have the family directly that's there, sometimes you need people to talk to outside. Like, I'll tell you, there's a group of guys that I know, what they've been doing is they've been having the Zoom beer call. They sit around a couple times a week, and they actually will turn around and do the call and drink beer as if they were just hanging out. So that's what's going on. What are you doing to kind of keep it sane? I mean, I don't do beer. I do a lot of weird stuff, but beer's not one of them, that's for sure. So just take a look at it and think about what you can do. Think about some ideas outside of the box. I know that most local bars are not open. So what can you do for the time being? Anyways, let's talk about the days of the year that you can celebrate today. National Cherry Cheesecake Day. National Lost Dogs Awareness Day. National Picnic Day. I don't know if you'll get in trouble for that one, depending where you're located. National Take a Chance Day. Woo, scary, scary on that one. Scary, scary. National Talk Like Shakespeare Day. If I would have known that, I might have dressed up. National Poem in Your Pocket Day. National Take Our Daughters and Sons to the Work Day. Yeah, that's interesting. If I was to take my daughters to work today, I wouldn't have to go far. Just a small drive to the studio. Not sure how much they would enjoy being locked up in this little room, of course. So what are you doing? What are you doing to calm it down? Anyways, the last Friday, just in case you were listening to the Rated R Safety Show, we did the 30 seconds. We'll continue to do those as we move forward. But also last Friday was our closeout, or Thursday, I think we closed it out. Maybe it was Friday, I don't know. We did a contest, closed it out there. Did some ads for some people. Winners are listed on safetyfm.com under the contest section. We'll be running another contest relatively soon there. Also, the other portion I want to make reference to before I forget. There are changes coming to the radio station aspect of this whole bad boy, starting the beginning of May, so we'll talk about them a little bit more starting next week. Also, last week, instead of doing a Safety FM mini show, we did a full episode with James McPherson. Well, I will tell you that based on the popularity this week of Uncle Bill's podcast that we did on Tuesday, we decided to get in contact with Bill one more time. And tomorrow, we will have a second round with Bill. After the first episode has come out, some of the questions that did come in, and we have Bill address some of those questions. So if you did enjoy the interview on Tuesday, I have a feeling you might really enjoy the one that's coming out tomorrow as well. We'll have that dropped into the radio station at some point later today, just so you know. So you can take a listen to that, and then we'll have it come out as part of the podcast starting tomorrow. Now, our podcast for the Jay Allen Show does drop at 3 a.m. Eastern Time. That's midnight Pacific, just so you are aware. If you do take a listen to our different shows. Now, we have different shows that drop at different times, just so you are aware. We have the Hop Nerd. We have the Pre-Accident Investigation, the Essential Leadership Cycle podcast, but they're all dropping at different times. I would love to sit here and tell you, here's the schedule on what takes place. But then the other side is that you can come out to our radio station, safetyfm.com, and we have different shows that air throughout the day. Now, if you are listening right now on safetyfm.com, this one comes to you live. Now, we do have several shows that do come live from time to time. This is one of the ones that I like to do personally, and I do another one, and not everything is related to safety. I want you to be aware of that. Some of them are speeches, some of them are conversations, and we are on the verge of having a new show start there. So I think it's going to be interesting, this show, because this one's going to be a totally different perspective of what's going on. This one will come out a little bit later in the evening. Not that it's dark or anything to that extent. But anyway, so what are you wanting to see more and more of? What are you wanting to hear? What can we do to make it what you're looking for? A lot of people ask for us to start creating some of the things with Patreon. We went ahead and started doing some things with Patreon. It's been interesting so far. Definitely an interesting medium on Patreon. Was not aware of the level of access that people like. So yeah, if you're interested in that one, you can go to patreon.com/safetyfm. You can get some more information there. Anyways, you've been listening to the Rated R Safety Show. I'm going to tell you tonight, I'm going to be pretty excited. Album that I've been waiting for drops tonight at midnight, I believe. But I can't figure out if it's midnight our time, Eastern time, or if it's midnight, Pacific time. If not, I'm going to be stuck like Chuck till 3. So let's talk about that. If I do show up late, which I doubt I will, you'll know that I stayed up too late listening to different things. Anyways, we are here at Safety FM to be able to help you with anything that you're needing at this particular time. Feel free on contacting us. You can come to safetyfm.com, go into our little chat box, leave a message. We will get back to you as soon as we can. Also, I love the people that actually interact with our different portions of the program and pop into the different boxes. Sometimes I'm able to see them, sometimes I can't. It just depends on what's going on. I look at this and go, how grateful I am for the opportunity that you give me that you allow me, because that's what it is, to interact with you. The opportunity of me coming into the stream, the video cast, the audio cast, whatever you want to call it, the radio station, the podcast world, and us having this interaction. I will tell you next week, this show will surpass the Jay Allen Show in the amount of episodes. Well, we'll call legit episodes because I don't really count mini episodes. And this has been in a very short period of time. And I know that for a time there, I actually did stop doing this show on a daily basis. And we have come back to it and doing it daily. And the interaction, I'm always impressed with some of the stuff that people write. I still love the whole thing when people were coming in on ranting, but I understand, that right now might not be the best time of doing this. But I also look at it and go, this is a relationship. I want you to know that the stuff that I bring to you is the stuff that I vet from the news world and the stuff that I'm able to find and locate. And I will tell you that if I find something and I bring it to you and then I find out that it's incorrect, I'm going to come back to you, as I have in the past, and tell you what I found. I don't ever want it to be a jaded scenario. Our relationship will always be based on trust. Yeah, I can be sarcastic from time to time, and I even know that I can be an asshole.
Duh.
Some people like that, some people don't. And yeah, some people have asked me, why haven't you interviewed anybody on this show? I'm not going to interview anyone on this show. That's not what this show is about. If you want interviews, we'll do it on the Jay Allen Show. But not here. This is not the interview show. Now, we've been talking to someone about doing a Rated R Safety Show Presents, and that will be a presentation possibly doing our type of conversation. But as we speak today, I will not be interviewing anyone for the show. I've had people request it, not what I'm planning on doing, just so you are aware. So that will not happen here currently. Don't have any plans for it in the near future. That is what the Jay Allen Show is for. Also, as we continue to move forward, things are going to get weird for a little period of time here. And the reason that I say that is because I want to make sure that we're focusing on what you want as the audience. And I know that I'm not going into my traditional Rated R Safety Show stuff right now.
Duh.
But I want to make sure that you as an audience member are receiving exactly what you want. Because I hate listening to stupid radio shows for a long period of time that become something entirely different than what they originated as. And from day one, we talked about doing the news. And we talked about being a forum for people to rant and give you stories that are based in safety for the most part. Now, what has happened, that's how it started. And things have evolved. And things have become what this thing is now. I will tell you, video was never part of my plan. That was a request that we started it. Now we're streaming on multiple channels. Yeah, I say it all the time. We play it all the time. I got a face for radio, and I'm perfectly fine for it. But understand that this is your show, and this goes the direction that you want. So I sit here and I say right now we don't do interviews, but that's not the plan of doing that here. But essentially, if you said this is what you're looking for, we can have those conversations and see what happens. I always state that you're the most important part of what goes on here. That will never change. Without you, I can't do this. And I mean that with the best of ways. Also, some people have said, Jay, on some of the shows you have too much advertisements. We do. Guess what? That's how the bills are paid around here. Ads are the source of life for the radio station. We don't do ads really on the video aspect because the ads automatically come from the video provider, depending where you're at. If you go to safetyfm.tv, there are no ads. At least the way that we had it set up. So yeah, you will see ads because that's the way that it works. And a lot of people got confused at the very beginning when we started doing this are you doing a paid service? No. This is not a paid service. Not looking to do a paid service. Subscription-based models are good for some people. I'm not looking for a subscription-based model. I am looking for you to download the app, safetyfm.com. You can find the app for the 3 different things that we have it on. We have it on the Alexa skills, we have it on the Android platform, and we have it on Apple. If you download that and give us a review, good, bad, or indifferent, because I'm not going to be here, please give me a 5-star review. No. Review, say what you have to say. We want to make that app better. We want you to listen to what we got going on. And then a lot of people say, why do you have so many different things going on? Why do you have so many different people, different speeches, different thought processes? That's what I want. That's what you asked me for. It's not all about HOP. It's not all about behavior-based safety. It's not all about machine learning. I have a guy out there that what he talks about is being a consultant in safety. And guess what? He's even talking about it now. That's how committed he is to it. So just think about that. Think about the different things that are there. And you'll see some changes, like I keep on saying. But that's a lot of it, what I wanted to talk to you here about today. So as we move forward, understand there'll be some changes. And like I said, if you want that weird level thing, you can definitely come to our patreon.com/safetyfm. Anyways, I appreciate you being the best part of the show, because that's what you are. You know who I am. I know who you are. Love you. Mean it. Bye.
Duh.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
Duh. 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 Duh.